Yes, this is the same day as episode 9, but except now, I have LaCroix. You know, I've had a moment to chill out since our last video. I've had a moment to sort of let the medication course through my veins. Now, instead of from here to here hurting, it's more like from here to here, which I think is a bit more manageable. You know, sometimes when you're dealing with chronic pain, you just kind of have to pull through it. This flare-up hasn't been as bad as the ones I've had lately, so I don't really see a need to take a day off, as it were. It's normally not a good idea to push through, but sometimes you kind of have to. Regardless, I do feel a lot calmer now. I've had applesauce. I'm supposed to have dinner with my parents in about a couple of hours, so there's that. Also, hibiscus LaCroix. Hello. Now, for those of you who know and for those of you who don't, my name is TK. I'm a writer, a voice actress, and your resident lunatic. And today we are watching the final episode of Our Flag Means Death. And I gotta say, it does kind of feel like the end of an era. And I know this is not the first time I've said that, but you guys gotta understand, when these shows take place over such like massive swaths of time, because I usually only do like one episode a week, and I've taken breaks since then. So it's been almost 15 weeks since I started episode 1 at my apartment. And the apartment and then moving to the house, it does feel like the last ties I have to my old apartment and my old place have been like permanently severed. It's a little bit sad, but it's more nostalgic than sad. That part of my life feels like another life as opposed to less than 6 months ago. There's a lot of emotion with this one. I gotta say, it feels a little bittersweet, and I'm really glad that I got to watch it with you guys. Your input has been amazing. On Patreon and on YouTube, I get these deep, well thought out comments that have been like my sustenance for the last couple of weeks. It hasn't been getting as many views as my other series, but I don't really care because the response I'm getting from you guys is just amazing. Now, in our last episode, we found out that Izzy's power trip didn't last for long. I honestly didn't expect it to. And Steed and Blackbeard finally got together, as it were, or they finally crossed the bridge from platonic love to romantic love. It was honestly a very beautiful little moment. I could have watched the entire show just for that moment. It was so fitting between the two of them. Not only that, but the actors had such great chemistry that it just sort of made sense. You know what I mean? However, unfortunately, reality caught up to both of them. Steed's poor decision making happened again. He went to go make things right with Mary and his kids before he went to square things away with Blackbeard. And like I said in the last episode, I know why he did it. I get it. However, Blackbeard deserved an explanation, regardless of whether or not Steed's actions made sense. Because we always say this, right? Let's just call it a Jack scenario. Because it's easy to look at a situation and look at it going badly from a third person point of view and going, well, this is what I would have done. I would have gone back and told Blackbeard. I would have made sure that Jack could have stayed on the piece of wood that Rose was on. And it's very easy to say that from a third person point of view. You have to think about it in the context of the show. However, it still doesn't sit right with me. And I don't think that it's because I don't like Steed or that I like Edward more or that I'm looking at this from a third person point of view. And I'm not saying that it doesn't make sense considering who the characters are. Steed's poor decision making is a legitimate character flaw that no one seems to be addressing, and it's kinda stressing me out. Do I think that it is going to get talked about eventually? Yes. But this is what I say about Steed continually being saved by coincidences, and I don't think that things are going to be better by the time this episode wraps up. Now, with that being said, I don't think it would make sense for things to be better without Steed facing the actual music, which wouldn't be the fact that, oh, he's let all of his personal responsibilities slide, that he's done or been privy to terrible things. And I slipped up. I said in the last episode that Steed's honesty is like his worst quality. The man is not honest at all. He's a liar. He's lied to himself. He's lied to Edward. He's lied to his crew. He's lied to his wife. Even if there were lies by omission, they are still lies. Real music that Steed has to face is that he can't make a decision to save his life. He has been an extraordinarily privileged and lucky man, and the price that he will have to pay for that is not physical. It's not something that will result in death, but depending on what kind of result it has, it could be worse. My issues with Steed aside, I am really glad that they are not constantly hanging a lampshade on Steed's character development, like saying, oh, Steed is doing so much better now, and having to constantly call it out. I'm glad we are just seeing him grow as a person, but at the same time, I'm glad we're seeing the hardened, stern, crazed Blackbeard soften and become a person who can have a conversation without threatening someone, who can let himself admit that he's sad or upset or depressed. I'm really glad that we have gotten to that point with these two characters, because I was really afraid that Steed would continue his character development and Blackbeard would just be Blackbeard. And I'll talk more about this at the end of the series when I talk about exactly what this show is asking us. For the most part, that the character writing on this show is great. And I didn't mention Jim in the last episode. Jim has actually made quite a few strides as well, having taken their greatest enemy and made them into a sort of ally, or at least a temporary therapist. And I'm hoping that we'll at least see a little bit of them in the last episode. I'm not sure if we will, because we have a lot of things to cover, particularly Olawande's new point of leadership and how Steed is going to try to fix this. But for now, let us put on our headphones and commence with the drama, my friends. And we're cutting it close because my 2,000 subscriber stream, thank you guys for that, by the way, is in like an hour. All right, in our last episode, the last thing we saw was Mary shaking hands and like, yeah, I get it. Oh, she looks so content. Bet she is.
The children have adjusted to the loss of their father far better than expected.
Yeah, because now she gets to be the disciplined parent and the fun parent, and she gets to do what she wants. Yeah, marriage wasn't exactly the best.
Surviving one's spouse is nature's greatest gift.
Oh, wow. The lace eye patch.
I never would have gone through with it if it hadn't been for Steve.
Okay, so I thought maybe it was a service to her, a service to Steve, but it was a service to herself, which I don't blame her for, honestly. He was not the best husband to her. The life she built for herself comes crashing down. I honestly feel bad for her.
I've forgotten how much I love this bed.
She's like, I really love this bed too.
I suppose it's an adjustment for him as well.
Yeah.
And of course, he's full of colorful tales from his time away.
So done. Steed really is not a good partner.
Who are you again?
Lewis.
No, it's perfectly all right.
You barely raised him when you were there.
Who's Doug?
He's my painting instructor.
Instructor.
I'd love to meet him.
Oh, I'm sure.
Blackbeard is in fine spirits.
He's not. Can we still throw Izzy overboard? Just to teach him a lesson for like 5 minutes.
Well, you missed the spot.
See, Izzy, this is why people don't like you, man.
So no matter what you see or hear, you do not breathe a word under pain of
He
death.
wants to talk to someone. He's sad. Let Blackbeard be sad, god damn it. Oh, Izzy. Oh, when did this happen? Please, please talk to each other. We already have one couple on the rocks. Yay! Okay, good. Excellent. I approve of this.
Wow. How many painters work here?
These are all mine.
Mary's told me so much about you, I feel like I already know you.
It's funny, I haven't heard much about you.
That's because you've been away.
Oh, just a little gathering.
Mary's having a showing of her work in town.
Which is something she is absolutely allowed to do.
May I?
No.
Paintings by the Widow Bonnet.
Oh.
I've heard.
He is so familiar. Who is he?
It's free real estate.
Ed?
Hello.
You alright, bud?
I heard you need some assistance.
I need someone to talk to. Maybe a hug.
I'm in the blanket fort. The door's the blue cushion.
Charming.
Lucius is so terrified for no reason.
Safe to have a candle in here, do you think?
I don't care.
What have you been up to?
Been sad.
Hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, you have been your whole life, bud.
All will fall. Fingers bleeding down to the bone now. Can't let go. Nothing makes sense. Hold on.
And that's just been his entire life.
Oh,
And Lucius is like, oh wow, you really need help, bud.
you hate it, don't you?
God, hate is such a strong and wrong word.
No, it's not about me. It's someone else holding on. Someone entirely fictional.
And this fictional character is having a hard time.
Yes! Yes!
Maybe it's best he just lets go. You mean just curl up into a ball and die?
Or cry.
What if life just begins again?
Aw, Lucius is such a good friend. That makes me so nervous. Oof. Yeah, you've already left them, dude. It's not like you ever belonged here in the first place.
How was your day, Edward?
Please let her fool around with her new love. I shouldn't support that, because she's technically cheating. Alright, HBO, calm down.
Anything you want to tell me? Say about Doug?
Oh, now we're talking about being honest? What about when you lied to my face and then abandoned me?
I have managed to create a life that I quite like, and I won't destroy that life just because you've decided to unabandon your family on a whim.
Whoop!
I object to the word whim.
The showing's at 6. I won't be home for dinner.
I'ma do exactly what you did, bud. This is him facing the music. Okay.
Hey, Jim, glad you're back.
Glad you're back, Jim. Thank you.
Let go. Make it. Go away.
She's like, It takes a good singer to sing badly. I wonder if Taika Waititi can actually sing. I wouldn't know. It's a passable she's Santy. Everybody clap. Even Izzy's like, oh god.
His name is Blackbeard.
Oh my god.
Do you want to be called Edward from now on?
Remember what I said about an ideal? You don't see him as a person?
My genius won't be translated into human language, more like pure tone.
Heavenly.
Amazing, guys, the sheer level of talent we have on this ship. Why are we even being pirates?
Yeah, solid. I love it a lot. Come on, Izzy. I kind of wish Izzy would just go with it. Because, like, I had so much faith in him as, like, the only logical thinker, but now he's more dedicated to being a dickhead.
I can make that happen. Just let me know.
Damn.
Murder's a natural cause.
I don't think we're quite at that stage yet.
You sure about that? Mary might actually try to kill him. Yep, there we go.
Steed Bonnet.
Oh, dear. Here we go.
Jeffrey! Fettering!
Didn't he mention Jeffrey in one of his flashbacks?
Becoming a pirate? At our age?
Our age? Speak for yourself, man. I'm only 40.
Half the time it has diarrhea.
Is he as bloodthirsty as everyone says?
He's absolutely lovely.
Or
A bloodthirsty killer, born of the devil.
You ever kill a man?
be honest. And there the flashbacks have started again.
Changes you.
Yes, it does. And gives you horrible PTSD as well.
Awesome.
It's not really.
Feels nice to tidy up a little.
Yes, it does. After a depressive sort of episode, it does feel better to sort of clean.
I should have let the English kill you.
Why didn't you?
Namby-pamby in a silk gown, pining for his boyfriend.
You're still playing with fire, bud.
There he is.
Izzy, your humiliation king is gonna get you killed, bud.
Blackbeard is my captain. I serve Blackbeard, not Edward.
That's your fucking problem, dude. I mean, you've already betrayed him once. He's gonna see it again. It's time you cut off Izzy for good, bud. Oh, that was great.
The only thing I hear people chattering about is your expressive brushwork.
Who is he?
It's free real estate.
Evening all.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Which means she's not really the widow Bonnet. Surely she should give up the dishonest title?
Are you really gonna take this away from her because you feel bad?
Unhand me or bleed.
Well, now you're actually going to die.
I forgive you, by the way, for sleeping with Doug.
Now you are actually going to die. This is the music Steed needed to face. Using your bare hands for the coup d'etat. Gross. Say what you want about Steed. He's a pretty terrible partner. To Edward and to Mary. Damn, she's going Hamlet with it.
You're going to stab me?
Yes!
Well, use a gun.
A pillow seemed too tricky, and a gun would wake the kids. I thought about poison or pushing you off a cliff.
Both of those would have worked better than the skewer.
Done tonight, and I didn't want you to suffer.
What? While you murdered me?
Well, it's not that much more dramatic than running off to become a pirate, is it?
She's kinda got a point, but...
We just can't seem to stop hurting each other, can we?
No, you really can't.
I don't fit here anymore, do I?
You never really did.
He's actually wonderful.
I know, he's been
he's
so
the
nice
best.
this whole time. I'm so glad they're having this conversation, even if it took a murder attempt.
We expose each other to new things, new ideas.
This one goes through your fucking eyeball.
We laugh a lot. We just pass the time so well. I'd call those things love.
I would too.
What's her name?
Ed.
She's just like, of course. I'm so glad they had that conversation. Oh my god. No. 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 Hang on to it. Hang on to it, please. Hang on to it. Hang on to it. No, 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 don't do that. God damn it. Someone catch it. Someone catch it.
Ed? Is everything alright?
Nope. God damn it. Oh, that's the Blackbeard you wanted. That's the Blackbeard you wanted, Izzy. Ew.
Blackbeard is himself again.
Blackbeard is the shell he used to be. God, poor Lucius. Like, things were finally getting better.
Did you make me breakfast in bed?
No, that was Doug.
Oh.
Doug is just like, hi, I love you.
And you're sure you want to renounce all claim to your family's wealth? You don't want anything?
Oh dear.
Evelyn, I have a bit of an exotic request.
Want him to die fast or slow?
She's hilarious.
You know you're killing her, right?
It's
discussed
fine.
it.
We actually had the conversation. We didn't have to do the same thing you and your husband did. We get along.
No, that's just my kitten Ned.
Oh. Jeez. Stick meat head.
Edward is expecting a wonderful talent show.
Why can't we just do it on the ship?
Are you sure you couldn't find Lucius?
Where's Jim?
Oh, who knows?
Jim's keeping their ear to the ground.
I've had my eye on you, Jim. You're quite the specimen.
Jim's keeping their ear to the ground. And Jim's gonna want Olawande back.
My new crew.
Oh. Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry it's come to this. We've decided this is just the best way to resolve the mess I've made.
No, you've made a much bigger mess.
Mum was much happier when you were gone.
Children will tell it like it is.
I figured if I split it in half and you could keep one and I could keep the other.
Cute.
Are you sure you're gonna be all right?
Nope.
That's very dangerous. And,
I love that Doug is in on it. And he looks so familiar.
It's free real estate.
Steve, look out! There's a jungle cat!
The jungle cat!
Oh no, the piano!
I'll handle this.
Oh no, the piano! Y'all have been abandoned.
Does it feel like they're taking an awful long time to come back?
Yeah, you have been marooned.
Plus, it looks like they're leaving.
They are.
Farewell, Bonnet's playthings.
Okay, we're gonna keep drawing this out.
You're a real pro, Ned.
Oh, Ned. Oh, we're doing so much. Okay. Oh. Gross.
He may have survived that.
He did not. What did I say about Looney Tunes logic? Oh, R.I.P. whoever that was. I know you feel satisfied, but
Yes, I'll take my time.
taking your time is what the problem was. Oh, God.
To Steed Bonnet. Complicated. Hard-headed.
Hard-headed. I guess Lucius is really gone. Jeez, I was kind of hoping he'd pop up at the end, but he's really gone. Oh, that makes me sad. Oh, yeah, he's definitely heartbroken. Does winning feel good, Izzy? Because this is gonna end poorly. It didn't fix it, did it? It didn't fix it, did it? I was really hoping that Lucius would, like, come back at the last minute. Ugh. This happened so often, it was actually decriminalized.
Oh, fuck me.
Oh. Okay. Oh. Okay. So, I get it. I'm upset, though. Okay, so this last episode did not need to be one episode. It needed to be two, at least. There was so much crammed into it that I almost broke my neck. I'm not gonna say that the ending was bad, because of course this alludes to a second season. The last bit where he killed Lucius did bother me, and it's because Lucius is my favorite character, yes. But one of the reasons it really bothered me was because you have Izzy on one shoulder, who is the devil, and Lucius on the other, who is the angel. So he basically had to wrestle with the angel and the devil on his shoulder, and eventually chose the devil, because that's how he always did. And Steed even foreshadowed this. I don't understand why killing Lucius had to happen, if he even did kill him. I'm gonna say that he did, because if I didn't, I feel like he would have popped up at the end of the episode. I do feel like he might pop up in like the first episode of the second season, but either way, I just feel some type of way about it. I know it was supposed to be him crossing a line. He wanted to be rid of Steed Bonnet's playthings, and Lucius bridged the gap between them. The ending makes sense. It makes sense. I get it, but Lucius was my favorite character, and I'm a little upset about that. I hope he comes back for the next season, but if he doesn't, I get it, because then Steed and Ed will be forced to speak to each other without a go-between. But I think if they get rid of Lucius in season 1, then they gotta get rid of Izzy in season 2. That would just make sense, because then without the whole angel and devil playing on each other, cut Edward off of both sides, and he needs to really intercede with himself. No matter what he chose, it didn't fix him. And I think that's what he wanted in the end. I think he wanted to be fixed, and that's not how relationships work. I think at the end of the day, the only person that is gonna fix Blackbeard is Blackbeard, and honestly, I don't think it's gonna get that far. I think what we're going to get from Steed and Edward are two very distinctly flawed people trying to make it work. And hey, isn't that just what relationships are in general? It's not that I don't like the ending, it's that I'm disappointed. Very well written ending. Should have been 2 episodes. It was a lot. Also, how did Jim come back? Jim just appeared back on the boat? How did Jim know where they were? Like, I feel like that's an episode that's missing. When did Jim come back, and how did they get back, and how did they get back without no one saying anything? You know, I'm overthinking it, clearly. The ending makes sense. I personally don't see why it needed to happen so quickly or involve a character death, if it even was a death in the first place. Regardless, what I think the show is trying to ask us is, are you soft? And is soft a bad thing? Now, of course, there's no definitive answer to this, because life do be lifing the way life does. There are certain times where you need to be soft, and certain times where you need to be hard, and certain times where you just need to be. Because a lot of times, it doesn't matter if you're making the right decision. What matters is that you'll have done something. In a way, Steve and Edward aren't making the right decisions, but they're doing something because something needed to be done. Saying that someone is good and bad in this situation is, I would say, be doing a disservice to the story. Edward never ever got to be soft, and that made him an extremely, I don't want to say damaged person, but I can't really think of another way to say it, but he is deeply wounded. He has never been able to express his emotions, and Steed finally gave him the chance to do that. Because of that, his life no longer fit him. That was a life he no longer wanted, and Izzy pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed him until he broke, and he became hard again. And when you break like that, it's normally 10 times harder to get back to the place where you felt healthier. Now, Steed, on the other hand, has been soft all his life. There are some situations that call for you to be the hard decision maker, where you have to make the hard decisions, where you have to be the disciplinarian, but he couldn't discipline his kids, he couldn't slaughter a duck, he couldn't even just own up and be like, hey, stop fucking picking on me, you bitch. But he finally managed to get into a situation that suited him best, where he could be the hard liner. He could be the one that made the hard decisions, where he could speak definitively. I'm your captain. You answer to me. It's always been that way. But this brings me to a phrase that was danced around this entire series, and that was the phrase, be a man. That is not necessarily a healthy way to deal with your emotions, as shown with Blackbeard, who has had to man up all his life. He is now this emotionally barren person who can't express himself save through violence. This is why I don't think this is going to end well. In my mind, what's going to happen in season 2 is that rift between them both is going to get mended somehow, and then a season 3 will come along where they both have to deal with a crisis that will finally cement their relationship. That's what I see happening. There is a possibility that they can cram it all into season 2, which I think is what's going to happen. I genuinely don't see how this is going to end with everyone being happy. In history, the person who won in the end was Izzy, then he got typhoid fever and immediately died. I don't know how this is going to end with season 2. I will be rather excited to see season 2, especially now that we are allowed to dive into the darker subjects. We don't have to sort of pad everything out with humor. I don't think that the show is trying to teach a lesson about morality. I think it's trying to show you something. Hey, these men are really, truly hurting, and the only way to make it better is if they are able to have room to express themselves. And not only that, but they need to have the room and the safety to feel like they can express themselves without being judged. Because having it thrown back in their face is going to make things worse. Not just for them, but for everyone else involved. One thing I think this show does want us to do is to treat the men in our lives with a little more understanding and with a little more kindness. We're in a world where people hear the word safe space and they're like, oh, I don't need a safe space. What's a safe space? No one deserves a safe space. But then they have hobbies, or they need quiet time, or they sing at the top of their lungs in the car. Like, that is not a safe space to express themselves in their most authentic form. The inherent hypocrisy of the people who spit on safe spaces and pronouns and stuff like that. The inherent hypocrisy of those people is just so mind-numbing to me. I feel like if they had just sat and thought for a moment that the people they are talking to are people and not just some archetypes that don't have lives outside of the bland definitions they've made up for them, they would be able to have a little more compassion. I think that is the central theme of this show, is compassion, because a little bit of it goes such a long way in this show. After you watch the show, we should have a little more compassion for each other. But what did I say at the beginning of this series? Do no harm, take no shit. Have compassion, but don't let people walk all over you. Now, with that being said, please like if you like this video. Please subscribe if you really like this video and would like to see more. If you would like to support the channel, you can find me on Patreon, where I post full, uncut, uncensored reactions every day before I post them on YouTube. So if I post on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you'll see it on Monday and Wednesday. And if I post on Wednesday and Friday, you will see it on Tuesday and Thursday. You can find me on every piece of social media: Tumblr, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, but mostly Tumblr and TikTok, because fuck Twitter. Thank you so much for watching this with me. Stay weird, lovelies, and happy eating!